blog post. So this morning in a blog post, I mentioned about wanting to have a little tea. So here is the thing. I'll tell you what the problem was. So ELK stack, Ubuntu, Phoenix Map, Published Ocean. So here, installing all of this, installing engines, and then Elastic repository, etc., etc., etc. And then once it comes to configuring or in like if you see here, this would require navigating. And then here, if you see, there is no security that is publicly accessible. As in, let's say if I have this installed, if I follow all of these, what would happen once I install and once I try to access this website? Anyone who knows, like the raw spies, misusing the spying equipment, those guys would also be able to view the website. No, I don't want them to have any access. If there are public websites hosted on my server, yes, anyone can access, not a problem. But when I'm doing something, and that's not supposed to be public, I don't want them to access because that is called unauthorized use of computing equipment. The exact meaning of the term hacking. Hacking means unauthorized use of a computing equipment by an unauthorized user. In this case, they are the hackers. Or here, in this, if you see, there's a little tutorial kind of once I go to this and see this, it says, so it's becoming public. How do I secure this? But ultimately, this morning I saw Soundware Pro Plastic Stack Stack install Linux Mint. Hmm. Let's see, there is no security or setting up of any password or anything. Uh, hmm. No, this morning I saw something. Mm, there was a, yeah, there is a, kind of a very, what should I say, kind of a very, this was not proper and secure, especially when I'm the target of the rogue raw spies who are hackers. This is very kind of messed up. But yeah, no, cross something this morning. Yeah, as I said, there is this kind of, there's a bit messed up, but there was somewhere I did see that um, there was some kind of a way of securing, that is like entering a password, etc. And it was like using the command line on the server, and it prompts and kind of displays a little password. Kind of first it displays a key. The key needs to be entered, and then displays a default like a password, and the password needs to be entered. And then like I was like, anyone with my address, even if I put my public IP address in AWS security group, what would happen is those guys, if they're around me, uh, if they're connected to my internet, or like in India, we have these little things. There is one public IP address, and there are a bunch of connections behind the public IP address. So there could be anywhere within the vicinity. Maybe maybe they're somewhere in upstairs or somewhere downstairs in the apartment complex. So what would happen? There's a very high chance that they could that they could definitely hack into my account. Hackers in Because in the past, there were a few times when I have been targeted and I have been hacked. As of now, my company is generating zero revenue, and yet I'm a target. The meaning, what does that mean? The meaning is kind of uh, they're identity thieves. They're hackers, identity thieves, impersonators, raw, spies, intellectual property theft. And when they are in different countries, obviously, they would have done, what should I say? They would have definitely done. Oh, wait a sec. No, 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 no. Uh, yep. Now I remember. I'm kind of working on too many things. Yes, 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 yes. I think this, like Pritanal. This is a So Pritanal is a it's a VPN, like a free software VPN. And one of the thing they and like the feature I liked the most with Pritanal was the support for YubiKey. So hopefully I can use my biometric authentication. So this is the reason I wanted to start using Pritanel. And then once I connect to the VPN, then I can secure my VPN, and like even if I have my like Elasticsearch on a different server or on the same server, only I can access, or at least the port that I'll be opening would be for for the VPN server inside of my AWS cloud. So like I would end up having the web server, and then I would end up having a VPN server containing Pritanel, and I would end up having like a log server. So the Elasticsearch I showed you. They have a very excellent log ingestion, metrics watching, log search, alerting system. Grafana, the free part is great. That is, like um, but the problem is for in the free tier, 14 GB, 14 days of log retention. But I think log retention should be higher. Like let's say for any reason, if any breach happened, it would take sometimes it could take a few days, and then like to recreate the events, to process the events, accessing the logs, and like working with law enforcement, the data retention would have should be longer, or at least there should be a way for downloading the logs. But as of now, Grafana does not have that, and some of Grafana's premium features are not available in the free tier, and like they show the account key in plain text. That's something I don't like. So that's the reason I'm trying to kind of like have my own logging scenario so that I can decide on how much log retention I want, or maybe even if not, maybe I will like maybe for the past 14 days, 15 days, 1 month, I'll have the data indexed in Elasticsearch, and maybe I'll use some kind of a like some kind of a plugin or some kind of a tool for exporting the data into S3, and maybe I'll put it in a like a S3 deep archive, and maybe I'll retain the logs for 1 year or 2 years. I can do anything I want because like S3 deep archive has very low storage cost. Uh, S3 pricing, if you see here, it's hardly, I think, like 0.04 cents per GB per month. S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Oh, 0.0018. I was saying 0.004. No, 0.0018 per GB. So that means 1 divided by 0.0018. If I store 555 GB of data in a S3 Glacier, it costs me $1, just $1 per month. But of course, like getting the data out of the S3 would take a few hours. But like if I'm archiving some log data that's more than a month old, probably I don't need it. And keeping there kind of like for a audit purpose. Yeah, I know. Like as of now, I don't have any commercial products or any user data, so I don't have to go through audits and everything. But like I'm kind of preparing the proper measures and controls in my startup so that once I start preparing products, I don't have to kind of get sidetracked. So that's the reason. So anyway, kind of got sidetracked a lot. But here, if you see Prithinal, um, so all of this is the installation. And here, see the Prithinal setup key, and then the default password. So the people who are in the vicinity connected to my Wi-Fi network, or like in the building, and like if the raw Divakar, the raw Totavira, the spies, the shadows, if they are trying to hack into my system, they can easily hack into my system before I even log in. So this is the reason why I wanted kind of I wanted a, what should I say, kind of a little utility that would like in the blog post I mentioned, I want one tool on the server that accepts a key IV, like a key and IV, and then when the tool accepts the key and IV, the tool would not show the key and IV. So I would generate the key and the IV. I would paste, and the key and IV would not be displayed. Prompts for the commands to run. So here in a Prisonal installation, what would happen is I would enter this. So now the application would execute this, capture the output, but the output would not be displayed. The application would capture the output, and then it would kind of uh, encrypt using the key and IV provided, and then it would output the encrypted text. that output I would take and put it in a different tool, and even the second tool would not display in a plain text, but I would copy into memory, and I can directly paste in the browser window. In a similar way, for the second step, this is what needs to happen. And here, if you see, I'm not, I don't want everything to be encrypted. I want this part to be encrypted, this part to be encrypted, this part, even if the username is not encrypted, not a problem. But the password, I definitely want the password to be encrypted. But did you see in the first scenario, I want the entire output to be captured. That is, first there had even if there are spaces, has to be trimmed and then encrypted. Here it has to parse this and then figure out the password and then encrypt only the password. So that's the first tool, the server part. The second tool on the client side, the laptop, something I would use here, would generate an IV and key and copies into clipboard, and then I would paste that into the server. And then once the server encrypts something and shows me, or maybe even displays some encrypted data, I would copy that, paste into this tool, and click decrypt, decrypt and copy into clipboard. And then this tool would the desktop tool would copy the plain text, and then I would enter in the browser. And after 10 seconds or 15 seconds, automatically, even if I forget to clear the clipboard, automatically the application should clear the clipboard. So, this is what I wanted to do. So this tool is going to have two parts. One is going to be deployed on the server, and the second part is going to be deployed on the client side. But, I know this is, not necessarily um, something used often, but, like in a one-person company, I do everything because I have enough broad knowledge in IT. I have depth in development, and I have enough broad knowledge in IT. And thanks to the entire world, thanks to every person in the entire world, a lot of people are putting in hard work and effort and writing blog articles, doing videos, sharing knowledge. In a similar way, I'm also trying to contribute back to the entire world by writing some blog posts, sharing some knowledge, and like kind of discussing things. So, this is like how we do, how IT works. Some person graduates out of college, joins a company as a fresher, learns from the seniors. Slowly, he becomes a senior. He, he mentors the other juniors. Later, people would become lead developers, and then they would kind of guide the senior developers, kind of looking at an entire application, designing applications like that. That's how the IT world, or a lot of different industries, people working in different industries, where that's how things are. So in a similar way, because I have vast range of IT experience and broad knowledge of different things. Hey guys, yeah, ఒక నిమిషం అమ్మా. I'll talk later.